Okay, my episode 6 review of Vinland Saga. Spoilers aplenty. Um, it starts out, we find out a little bit about what's going on. The Vikings he's traveling with have been contracted by the Danish to attack the English. The Danish are planning a full on invasion of England, and right now they're using the Vikings and their own troops to kind of soften the land up for the attack. And the leader, which I still don't know his name after 6 episodes, it's ridiculous. The leader of the Vikings, blonde guy who is the one that ordered the death of Thorfinn's dad, Thor's. He is taking advantage of the situation and making a lot of money. He's basically taking his Vikings around and offering them to attack others so that they can make money off of it. They're basically just pirates. They're for hire, and they get hired for a battle, and then there's a sneak attack while they're being hired, and they get attacked by the English, and Thorfinn is watching it go down, and then he sees, his dad gave him a small sword to fight with, so he sees the fight going on, and he remembers the leader telling him, "Hey, if you prove yourself in battle, I'll honor you with a proper duel." So he goes and tries to go for it, and doesn't go well, and right before he gets killed, the guy ends up killing the guy. The main guy ends up killing the Englishman who was trying to kill Thorfinn's, and he jokes with him about being the weakest person on the battlefield. Um, so then right after that, he goes after another guy. He actually kills him, and then you kind of see him a little older. They kind of fast forward. He's a little bit older, maybe a year or two older, and he's bad. And, he's not quite his father, but well on his way to being the type of warrior that Thor's was, where he can take out a bunch of people at once. Um, he has this particular fight where he ends up being injured, and he gets saved by this English woman and her daughter. They take him in for not too long, and clean him up, feed him, patch up his wound. He had been hit by an arrow. Get the fleas off of him because he's full of fleas. And an Englishman, and he was sent ahead. I'm sorry, he was sent ahead by his troops to scout that area. So he scouted it, and as he was scouting it, all this stuff happened. So he ends up in this village that he was supposed to be scouting, and the woman takes him in, and she's like, he's a child, um, even if he's Danish, um, he's not English, but he's still a child. And the woman lost her son 2 years ago, around the same age, and Thorfinn reminds her of her son John. At any rate, eventually an Englishman comes around, and he's like, "Hey, we're looking for a little boy. Looks like this kid." They convince him that Thorfinn is not the guy, but the guy says he's gonna come back. But Thorfinn basically tells him, "Look, you don't need to run because my folks are coming." So he goes down to the beach, and he lights one of their huts on fire to signal to the Vikings to come on. The Vikings are in the water waiting for him to give the signal, and he lights one of their huts on fire. The Vikings come, run through the village. The woman sees that he gets caught before the Vikings get there and kills a bunch of people. And the woman sees him, and she starts crying, and he's hurt by it, obviously. But the Vikings come and they start pillaging, and Thorfinn basically takes a deep breath and joins them, and that's how it ends. Um, so he's a part of the Vikings now. He's joined them. Um, he took another small sword off of another guy that he killed. So now he has two. You see him kill quite a few people in this episode. It's a really bloody episode. It's kind of hard to watch for me. I don't do blood very well. But it is still interesting to see his progression. He has become a warrior for real. Like he's a fighter with those little two small swords. Guys with much bigger swords have no chance against him, basically. As we've seen so far. And he's still, what, a preteen maybe? He's young. I don't think he's 13 yet. Um, and then we're kind of seeing his relationship. He's still very cold with the Vikings. They're trying. There was a scene earlier on in the episode where it's raining and they're like, "Hey, come on out here and hang out with us," and he just ignores them. So he's still holding this grudge. He's still focused on proving himself because what he wants more than anything is to kill this guy who killed his father. Even though now this guy has saved his life, and there's actually a part where he saves the guy's life, and this is where you kind of see it go on, where this guy kind of becomes a mentor to him, and it's going to be a conflict, obviously, between him and this guy, and him internally for him wanting to kill this guy, this leader of the pirates, and kind of seeing him as a father figure, because there's going to come a time when he gets a little bit older where he's been around this guy more than he was around Thor's, and he's going to be around this guy during his formative years, most likely, unless something happens. And the guy, like I said, becomes a father figure to him. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But it's still very interesting. I'm still enjoying it. Wish the battles were a little less bloody, but you deal with what you got to deal with.